Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, Zimbabweans, wherever you may be. We are back, as we said we would be. We've only got one panelist tonight. So over to you, Wilbert.
Hello, good evening, fellow Zimbabweans. Good evening, Sally. My topic for today, I thought we'll talk about an article which I think is a very good read, and I would strongly recommend people to go through it and go through the whole article for themselves. This article is about our statutory instrument 142, and it appeared in the e-business weekly, and also is available on Bulwer 24. What the author was saying there is that when we passed our statutory instrument 142, which banished the basket full of the multi-foreign currencies as legal tender in Zimbabwe, leaving the local currency as the only legal tender. This apparently we are not the first country to do that. Apparently the USA did that in 1862. This was the time of the Civil War, when Abraham Lincoln was the president. So I'll just read some of the extracts from the article. On February 25th, 1862, United States President Abraham Lincoln signed the Legal Tender Act, a brainchild of Elbridge Spaulding. These were terrifying times. The Republic was at war with itself and would be until 1865, wrote the e-business weekly. Although through the act, Treasury would issue federal dollars backed by nothing. The new currency was quickly nicknamed the greenback. The greenback was to be used for all local transactions except custom duties and interest on government bonds, which were to be paid for in the old gold-backed dollars or the gold. The National Banking Act in 1863 would make it clear that banks would still issue own banknotes, only that now with the Legal Tender Act, such notes had to be backed by the greenback and not gold as before. They were worried inflation would soar once the anchorless currency circulated. They were wrong. Why? Well, the war was good business. Factories kept running because a lot of stuff must be produced and moved quickly to make way for more stuff to be produced. With such activity, the anchorless currency did not chase few goods. It oiled industry. Now, in Zimbabwe, our statutory instrument 142 was enacted in a half. Inflation was soaring, and traders, workers, and everyone with the economic clout was picking with the economic clout to pick and choose which currency to be paid in, were determined they would ask for the most stable currency, naturally, to the detriment of the local. And this was a slippery slope, as this caused the new wave of price increases fueled by inflation. In the last 4 weeks, inflation has already surged from 97% to 175%, and it is set to grow. I got back to the article. What made the US bold move work? Yes,ly, some would say trust and confidence, concluded the e-Business Weekly. But what we know and is irrefutable is that when the greenback was introduced in the early 1860s, industrial production, thanks in part to the war, made it work. We must, however, realize that production is an end. It is an outcome of peculiar knowledges and insights of what to produce and how to produce it. Zimbabwe, and indeed Africa, hasn't quite figured out that. And that is our mission of the mission of our time, concluded the Business Weekly. I believe the mission of our time is not actually educating business, particularly this ZANU-PF government. It is said that the problem there being we are dealing here with people like Mnangagwa and company who believe they know best, when in fact they know nothing. And to quote the great Greek philosopher Socrates of 470 to 399 BC, I know nothing, and that is the only knowledge I know. This is a Socratic paradox, given that he is one of the wisest person who has ever walked the earth in history, in human history. But what Socrates, I believe, was trying to say there is we must have the humility to admit that we don't have all the answers, all the solutions. And therefore, then that opens our minds to education and questioning everything that we believe in. And to quote Socrates again, he said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And I think that has been at the heart of our problem in Africa. We have leaders who believe they know best, and not only know best, they know everything, and that everybody else doesn't know anything. And that's why they stifled debate, stifled democratic process, and landing in a situation we are in where even after 39 years of gross mismanagement, rampant corruption, they still would not admit that they failed. I believe our challenge is actually to tell these people that they are humans, they are infallible, and therefore then they must accept meaningful democratic reforms where everybody has got a meaningful say in the governance of the country. This case of rigged elections where somebody remains in power as if they've got the divine right to rule is what is at heart, the essence of our problem. That's my analysis. Thanks very much, Sally. Over to you.
Okay, lovely. Anything else you want to say on it?
Well, I think that is something that we really honestly must pursue. This issue of rigged election is at the heart of our problem. I don't see how we can solve it unless we we end this case of rigged elections. At the present moment, ZANU-PF, we know anybody with anybody will tell you that last elections were rigged. Last year's elections were rigged. And therefore, then, if we believe in the rule of law and if we believe in free, fair, and credible elections, we've got to turn around and say, well, if you rig the elections, the only way out is for you to step down and stop this rather pathetic situation where we pretend that the elections were okay, and we allow those who rig the elections, in fact, reward them with absolute power. And this has been going on since independence. And until we stop that, I don't see how, Sally, we are going to get out of this. At the present moment, stopping
How,
ZANU.
how do we stop it?
Well, I agree. I think that is the challenge as to the details of the how. But the what we must agree to start with is that that is what we have got to do. You know, we can't pretend that ZANU-PF is legitimate. ZANU-PF is not legitimate. And if ZANU-PF,
How do we stop it? I mean, saying they're not legitimate means nothing. It's cheap. How do we stop it?
well, I think I agree with what you're saying. The answer for how is important, but nonetheless, I think the even accepting that the present setup is not working is also equally important. Because why I say so is because I believe that most of the time we convince ourselves that the present system will work, so we need to work harder on it, which is the wrong approach. If you accept the present system is not working, then I think your attitude on how are we going to get out of it, you're more focused on how to get out of it, rather than if you believe the system, the present system, or you are stuck with it, and therefore then all we can do is make it work. And that, I think, is another problem, particularly in our political system, where I believe some of the solutions that are being put forward, you can see they are anchored on the belief that ZANU-PF must remain in power. That is at the heart of it. And therefore, then let's find a solution that works within that box, where ZANU-PF is still in power, and what solutions can we come up with? Whereas what I'm saying is ZANU-PF is the elephant in the room that we have got to deal with, and accepting that ZANU-PF has got to step down as the only way out is important. Are you still there, Sally? Hello? Hello? Hello, Sally, can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Sally. Hello.
Oh, fuck. Hello.
Hello,
Can
Sally.
you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know what happened.
My Wi-Fi went down.
Oh, okay. All right. You want us to conclude
Just
it
hold
then?
on. Just hold on. Just hold on. Oh, nothing's working now. I'm having a bad time here. Just hold on. If you want to, we can carry on for about another 10 minutes because I had that break.
Okay. I don't know. Did you want to?
You see that? Okay. Where I asked, how do you fix it? That's when the signal, then I lost the signal.
Okay. Well, what I said there is I agree. How to fix it is a question that really has got to be answered. But my argument would be that sometimes we found it difficult to answer it because either some people have already accepted the present situation, i.e., that ZANU-PF is in power, and therefore then we've got to work with what we've got, or they genuinely believe ZANU-PF won the elections, and therefore then there's no point in talking about it. My argument is that the ZANU-PF is the elephant in the room, and to pretend we can make it work is burying our heads in the sand, because we've done it for the last 39 years and it has not worked. And therefore then we need to go back to the drawing board and deal with this white elephant in the room. we have got to accept that it's not working. We have got to accept that ZANU-PF must step down as the only way out.
You see, how are you going to make ZANU-PF step down?
Well, that is also another challenge. But to start with, people must accept the present system does not work. And then the next step would be, I agree, how are we going to make ZANU-PF step down? But I think the ZANU-PF has already put itself in that position already. Because if we accept the elections were rigged, then ZANU-PF is illegitimate.
And what's that going to change tomorrow?
Well, the point then, the argument then becomes that if we've got an illegitimate regime, we have got to move out of that situation and not pretend it is legitimate. And it goes back to what we had a similar situation in 2008 after the rigged elections, where the only way out was to form an interim government and tell ZANU-PF they've got to step down to form this interim government of national unity. But that is that would be the logical thing to do.
You're dealing with an illogical group of people. We can shout the elections are rigged a million times. Okay? That means nothing if there's no solution. We all know the elections are rigged. Give us a solution. How to sort it out. A solution that is not airy-fairy. The GNU is not going to work. It never has, it never will. ZANU-PF is not going to put themselves into a place of losing and being voted out. Okay?
Well,
we have to have a solution. We have to have. And my solution is, you've got what you've got right now. It's not working. Find a way to make it work. Because shouting rigged elections, okay, and coming to an agreement that they rigged isn't going to solve anything. What's going to solve something is you've got what you've got and you've got to work with it. And when the people are in a place of basically stable, they will see for themselves, and it will work out that they end up voting out ZANU-PF. But we have to work with what we've got. We can't work on airy-fairy ideas. It doesn't work. We've been trying it for 40-something years. It hasn't worked.
Yeah, but
we've never tried working with what we've got. We've never tried it. We've fought it every step of the way. That hasn't worked. Yes.
No. My argument is that we have been working with what we have got. We have tried to make ZANU-PF dictatorship work. That is the difference.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, what have we been doing the last 39 years?
We've just been muddling around in the dark, okay? Trying to fight
ZANU-PF in power. With ZANU-PF in power.
Trying to fight ZANU-PF, okay? Which hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have been working the last 39 years with ZANU-PF in power.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, that hasn't worked.
We haven't been working with ZANU-PF in power. We've been working against ZANU-PF.
How?
How? Demonstrations, running from the country, all this kind of business, okay? We have done, they have done just about everything to stop ZANU-PF. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked because you can't stop them. people die, demonstrations last for 24 hours or something, okay? ZANU-PF come back stronger. We have done everything against the government. We have not said, right, we know that you have rigged elections. We know that you are illegitimate government. But that is not going to get you out of power. What's going to get you out of power is work with you, get the country into a stable place where the people are now able to see for themselves. Because, Wilbert, how long have we been shouting rigged elections?
Sally, but I think
How long have we been shouting rigged elections?
Well, since 1980.
Thank you. Okay. How many times have we been shouting reforms?
But Sally, are you saying, Kuti, when we shouted that the elections were rigged, that is working with ZANU-PF?
No, it's not working with ZANU-PF. It's working against ZANU-PF, which hasn't worked.
No, you can shout.
Yes.
No. I mean, shouting that ZANU-PF has rigged the election did not stop ZANU-PF implementing whatever reforms they had. They are the power, the government in power. They could have implemented the
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't stop them. We did not.
We can't. Them. We did. We have worked against them. We have worked against them internationally. We have worked against them. Every tiny step we've ever taken, okay, has been against ZANU-PF. It hasn't worked. ZANU-PF has done exactly what they want. So you know what? Yes, the elections were rigged, okay? Yes, ZANU-PF is the problem. It's the problem that we've got and the problem that we've got to work with right now. Finished. Because nothing else is working. Nothing. What else is working?
I think we're talking across papers. We are saying the same thing.
No, we're not. We're saying completely different things.
Yeah, no. Let me finish the point. The point I'm making there is you are saying ZANU-PF has been able to do as it liked, regardless what all our shouting.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, that is exactly what I'm saying. Could we have let ZANU-PF do as it pleased, and it has not worked?
Okay, how do we stop them?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But in this particular case, we've got to accept.
How do we stop them? Nothing else. Tell me how you stop them.
What I'm saying, Sally, and I'll say it again, is that we've got to accepting the present status quo has not worked. It's important because when you have accepted
that... No, it's not, Wilbert. It's not important because nothing will change. I want change. I want change tomorrow. I don't want people to do what? You want to stop ZANU-PF? Go to war. That's the only way. You're not going to stop ZANU-PF in any way. The only way is work together for the better of the people. Forget the government. You want the people to be better off. Work with what you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if tomorrow I lose one arm, okay? Now I must sit back and I must think, well, you know, now I've lost an arm. No, I've got to carry on working tomorrow. So what do? I've got to work with what I have to make things better and carry on forward. Admitting that the government is illegal does nothing. Nothing. Shouting we need reforms does nothing, because ZANU-PF are not going to implement reforms where they then lose power. They're not going to do it. We have tried everything, but actually working with the government to better the country. It doesn't matter that the government is illegal. It means nothing. It means nothing. Because it's not, you can stand up and shout the government is illegal inside Zimbabwe. You can get 50,000 people doing the same thing. It's not going to change ZANU-PF. The international community can say it. It's not going to change ZANU-PF. They will put the country into the mess that it is today because they don't care. We have to find common ground. We have to decide, right, we put our pride in our pocket. We put our personal stuff aside because this is for the people. Not us. It's for the people. We can't keep on, Wilbert. It can't. You can't give me a solution as to how to get rid of ZANU-PF. A solution that's going to work now. Not in years to come. Now. You can't. So what's the use?
Well, I mean, if we have given up, why are we talking then?
We're not giving up. We're not giving up. If we'd given up, we wouldn't be talking.
I don't know.
I mean, you have to get to a stage where it's not stepping down. It's stepping forward, putting your pride, putting your prejudices, everything aside for what? For the people. Your solutions ain't a solution.
So are you saying, so what is the solution then?
To work with ZANU-PF, to better the country, to better the people.
How have I stopped working ZANU-PF achieving its goals?
I'm not talking about ZANU-PF achieving its goals. I'm talking about a united Zimbabwe achieving its goals.
Yes, okay. How have I stopped a united Zimbabwe?
Because you want people to acknowledge that the government is illegitimate, and then what?
Okay, that's what I'm saying
what?
now. For the last 39 years, what have I done to stop a united Zimbabwe?
You've done nothing, because Zimbabwe will do what it wants.
So in this particular case, what I'm saying to you is, I have not done anything to stop the united Zimbabwe, and it has not worked.
You have, in a fashion, by saying you haven't stopped as such, okay? What you do is you tell us what's wrong, but then the solution is not there.
I don't see how you can say just saying this is not working stopped Zimbabwe progressing. I refuse to accept that. ZANU-PF was in power, all the statutory powers to implement whatever reform, the economic policies that it wished that would have made Zimbabwe better. I didn't stop them. So why should
nobody's going to stop them?
Yeah, but that's where we are now. We are saying for the last 39 years they've done ZANU-PF has done as it pleased, and it has not worked. And to say that it's because we're not united, I don't see how the unity has got anything to do with it.
Of course, the unity has got to do with it.
Well, how?
if people are united and decide, right, we are going to work with ZANU-PF, come hell or high water, because we want to better the country for the people, okay?
But Sally, you've just said ZANU-PF will do what it likes.
For now, yes, it will. It will, because it's, look, nothing in the last, maybe Changurai, maybe, okay, I'm just saying. But in the last 40 years, nobody has said, right, let's sit down and discuss. No conditions, let's talk it out, let's find solutions, let's find common ground. Okay? No. It's always been ZANU-PF has to do this, ZANU-PF has to do that, ZANU-PF blah, blah. And ZANU-PF does what? Carry on with your conditions.
You are refusing to accept ZANU-PF. And in fact, you have said it yourself, that ZANU-PF has been doing what it likes.
Exactly. Yeah. Because why?
When I'm doing what I like, there's no point in you talking to me, because I'll do what I like.
Look, for the last 40 years, they've been doing what they like, okay? Because people lay down conditions. People don't go honestly and openly.
What did we lay down in the 80s?
In the 80s?
Yeah.
I can't think that far back, okay?
What conditions did we lay down in the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years? Reforms, ZEC, international community, what else?
ZANU-PF doing
thousands of things, okay?
But did that stop ZANU-PF doing what it wanted?
Of course it didn't. So
it doesn't matter.
That going to tell you?
We've said all that, and it didn't change ZANU-PF. It still went ahead and do what it liked. So it doesn't matter whether it said it or it didn't.
Let's change tactics then.
Change tactics to what?
Change tactics, except they are in power, okay? Whether it's legitimate or not, forget that argument. They are in power. Finished. End of story. Okay? Except they are in power. Right. Let's see what we can do.
Sally.
To get this thing off the ground.
Isn't that what we have been doing so far?
No.
Wait. Let me clarify that point again. Whether I accepted that they were legitimate or not, it did not change anything. So why should my saying you are illegitimate now become a serious issue? It didn't change anything.
Exactly. So asking the people to unite against them being illegitimate is not going to change anything.
Yeah. But Sally, we should not try to point a finger at those people who said, oh, you are illegitimate. If it did not change anything, it didn't matter whether he said ZANU-PF was illegitimate. ZANU-PF was going to do exactly as it pleased. And it has done exactly that. So why should my pointing a finger at them at saying you're illegitimate be considered to be a drawback? It's not a drawback, because it didn't change anything.
Exactly. And that's a drawback. That's a drawback.
It's an issue. That was
a drawback.
No, it's not a drawback. How can
it
be a drawback?
Because we want things to change. Shall I be absolutely 110% honest with you?
Yeah.
If I was in Zimbabwe now and I held clout, I would be finding ways to work with ZANU-PF. I can tell you that straight.
That's fine.
Because you know why?
And you
know why? Any way that I can find to make people's lives better than they are right now, okay, I will use.
And you think that will change Zimbabwe?
Yes, it will.
Well, let me tell you, Sally, I was in Zimbabwe, and I tried to say what I thought would make Zimbabwe work, and it was ignored.
Of course. I wouldn't say.
That is what I'm saying here. We are dealing with a regime that does not appreciate your good ideas. It will do
No, I
what
wouldn't.
it likes.
You see, Wilbert, I wouldn't pump my ideas onto them. I wouldn't say anything. I would approach them and listen to what they had to say and what they wanted and what they look. They're as corrupt. You can't find anything more corrupt, okay? But hey, if I can work with those people, okay, so that my family and every other family can have good clean water inside their home instead of having to go poop in the bush because there hasn't been water for I don't know how many days, and I can have electricity that's basically going to work, okay, and I can get some of the production going again. Hey, I'll sell my soul to the devil
Yeah, Sally.
to make other people's lives better.
You are running way ahead of yourself. You have just said yourself that you will listen to them.
Yes, I won't tell them what to
they'll
do.
tell you, this is what we are going to do, and they are going to have corruption, mismanagement, and so forth, and they'll go ahead and do it. How I stop them?
You know what? I'll find a way for it to work for me.
Yeah.
Well, not for me,
Okay.
for the people. I'll find a way.
Let's be practical here. Tell us how, if somebody you accept, here is somebody who has got their own ideas and they are determined to do whatever they like. They don't listen to anybody else. How are you going to change them? Because that's ultimately
just say that I know the MP of Masvingo, okay, and I get to know him really well. I find out what his weaknesses, and his weakness might be a Rolex watch for him and his wife and his children, okay? And if I give him those Rolex watches, I can get something from him that I can get the streets cleaned. I'll go and I'll buy those Rolex watches and I'll give him those Rolex watches, okay, just so I can get the streets cleaned. Okay, now he knows, okay, that I will deal with him on his terms, but he doesn't realize that I'm bettering the place. He wants...
Can I just tell you something, Sally? You buy him the Rolex watch, and you think, okay, now he will allow you to get on with the cleaning.
No, Wilbert, I'm not that stupid.
For something else, yeah? Are you going to go and buy?
I'm not that stupid, okay? It's give and take. These people have all got give and take.
Sally,
all of them.
Sally, I can tell you one of those characters now. Chwenga, when he was having his divorce with his wife, he had 45 gold watches. Yeah. And still, he is one of the most corrupt people you have got in Zimbabwe. So there you are. He got the gold watches and still he wanted some more.
He got the gold watches from what?
From
deals. I'm telling you now, that Muti guy, okay? That Muti guy gave him plenty. And what did Muti get? Muti got a deal. All right? A damn good deal.
Well, I think we can argue in circles on that one. I don't think there are many Zimbabweans out there who have got the money to buy Rolex watches to start with anyway. And in this particular,
I'm just an example.
Yeah. But the point there is we've got to deal with the reality. The reality is millions.
Exactly. Zanu is in charge and we've got to work with them. Finished. End of story.
Oh, okay.
What else are we going to do? You give me another solution.
I agree.
You give me another solution that's going to start working now.
Why is it that my solutions have got to start working now?
Because that's what we need.
So if we don't have a solution that going to start working now, we should just continue with what we have got.
Whatever.
Well, that's
Whatever.
what he said.
I give up. I surrender. And I really didn't want to get involved in this. I really didn't.
Anyway, thanks very much, Sally. I think we can leave it for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Robert. Thank you very much.
Good night, madam.
Take care.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.